for the first time, please like and share.
Okay, great. So we're very happy about that. So next, we will move on to the main topic of today's Parents Huddle, which is potty training.
I think she's pointing to somewhere.
Potty training. Some notes I'm referring.
Yeah, maybe we should shift the notes because Michelle and me, we have something very much in common. We have a few things in common, but we're not like twins, But there's something we have in common, that's scatterbrain. Which is why we need the notes to help us along. So today, our topic is actually, our age group that we are targeting is toddlers, somewhere between the ages of 18 months and 24 months. So every week, Parents Huddle actually looks at different groups of kids. And then sometimes we don't know, but generally this week is on potty training. We'll be sharing some tips with you for kids who are learning to potty train in the months 18 to 24. That's generally when most parents do potty training for their kids. Yeah, so I mean it's pretty common. It seems that most people do start potty training in the months 18 months onwards to 2 years old. That's also some of the reasons include the child being able to take off their clothes by themselves, and also because they are a little bit more mobile, which means to say they're walking already. Otherwise, it's quite tiring to train for. I mean, that's the perception, right? We're just sharing the general view. What's your experience? I mean, those of you who are watching us, thank you for joining us once again. Maybe you can share with us your experiences as we move on in the show. Later we can bring it up and talk about it. And if you've got questions, you can ask.
Because like Pauline mentioned, I think it's as Parents Huddle, I think it's good where we get some experiences from your side and also maybe some of the issues that you are facing that you think, okay, I have not been able to ask anywhere. You just put it in the comments below. Our admin will shoot it up and then we'll talk about it later. So before, like we said, it's not always about our experiences only. So we also do a little research before we come on to our live this week's topic, potty training. Also, we did a little research and we got a little bit of information from this Dr. Jill Campbell. She's actually, she has 20 years of experience in early child development. And before we move over talking about our own experiences, there are some tips and tricks that she has as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I have also Swiss cheese brains, so I forget a lot of things. So I have to refer to my notes. Okay, there are actually some signs of readiness, which some of them have been highlighted already. Like for example, being able to independently pull up and pull down their pants. Okay, that's one of them. Also, they must have an ability to hold their, whether it's urine or has motion, is that the correct word? Says your child is also able to stay dry for at least 2 hours a time during the day. That means they don't like let go little bits of like pee, like a bit. So if they hold it and then it accumulates and gets like a lot in one go, then you might be able to tackle on potty training as well. Of course, your child also should be able to follow simple instructions, either by gestures or like maybe a simple sentence like go to the toilet and get something, or go to the kitchen and help mommy get something. Those are the kind of instructions they might be able to understand by that time. And also, it's a very interesting fact that she found it correlated with potty training is that the child starts putting things where they belong. That means maybe their toys. He or she may begin to pick up the toys and put them back to where they originally were.
So you are saying that they are able to make sense of what's the correct way or the general accepted way of things.
So she has still quite a few other tips. So if you're interested, you can go to honest.com and read about it. And then here she has a top 10 tips to make potty training easier. Not going to explain them all, but I'm going to name a few which I think was quite applicable. Actually, I did this also. I got some books that talked about pooing into the toilet so that it could relate to where the poop was going somehow. So it is, but like she kind of got the message. And also once a day or more than that, you can take them to sit them where on the potty or the toilet that you have. And then some parents will sit on the adult toilet while their child sits on the potty, or you can just put the child on the toilet itself. We'll talk more about putting the child on an adult toilet later on. And then to give them a desire to actually imitate the passing of urine or the poop, basically. Let me see. And one more thing is that I found it interesting is that during the day, you start to ask your child if their diaper needs to be changed. It means they can communicate that already. So you can ask your child if they can tell you when they need to go, and at first they are more likely to tell you after you've gone rather than before. Okay, so I thought that made a little bit of sense, but it would be a good start for some of the people that don't know how to start yet, and you have a little bit older toddlers. Okay, yeah. Okay. So anybody? Let's see. Hello, the other Michelle that's watching us, and Sean and Joseph, thanks for joining us as well.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Okay, Michelle has shared some tips with you, but I think generally when we talk about 18 months to 24 months, that's the focus of today. But actually, when you talk about potty training, the interesting thing is that potty training doesn't mean that you have to start at 18 months exactly, or 24 months, or you miss it and you're bad, or you have to wait until then. Actually, we had a discussion this morning in the office, and everybody has very, very different experiences with different kids as well. So I've got here this book called Early Start to Potty Training. It's by this author named Linda Sona, who's a PhD holder, yeah. Okay, nothing to do with a PhD holder, but I think a lot of the tips that they share here is very, very interesting because there are many schools of thought. Some people think that there is a right age to start potty training. I personally, for 3 kids, I don't think there is a right age to start potty training. Why? Because different kids have actually different readiness. Some are ready when they're very, very young. And some, even when they hit about 2 years old, they can be clueless as in whether they feel the urge to go and pee and so on and so forth. But since we are actually talking about potty training for 18 months to 24 months, that's about just toddler age up to about 2 years old, I will share with you some of the lessons for toddlers that she has shared, and some of the things to do when you, let's say, have a child who is like not so ready, but yet you want to start, then and you are actually pursuing potty training during this period of time. I think for new parents, especially if you're potty training for the first time, there are a few tips that you might want to bear in mind, because potty training, as she and I can attest, is especially for kids this age, it's actually not so easy, because a lot of times they're also beginning to say no and I don't want, the rebellion stage, the terrible tools and stuff like that. So it's a long drawn process, simply because as an adult we might feel that, hey, why can't you do this, I'm frustrated, and believe me, after wiping the floor for like the 10th time on the day, I don't think you're really in the mood to actually say, hey, come sit down, but just some tips to help you along. So she's got some tips here. She says that you should be patient, avoid yelling at the child if they actually did it on the floor. All right. So you need to be patient. You have to be consistent and deal with the accidents immediately, because they are not like scatterbrain, but they can't remember once you've passed like that first few minutes that something happened, an accident happened, right? They can't remember you. They won't know what you're scolding them for half an hour after the incident, all right? So please deal with it immediately. You have to remain calm if they do actually have an accident, all right? You can note and reward small successes. This one, to some degree, some of us agree and disagree, but that's something we can discuss a bit later. And then set and enforce consequences. That doesn't mean punishing the child, right? Very interestingly, a lot of people, some of the pitfalls that we get into, especially when you are doing potty training, and that's the worst thing, because it sets the toddler back by a lot, is to actually shame them. I think it's very, very common, because people get frustrated, they start shaming, or maybe they've got other people around with us, your new parents, you may want to be gentle, but then, you know, there are always eyes looking at you, and then people like, oh, shame, shame, that kind of stuff. I think that actually makes the kid very worried about trying, because kids actually want to try. And they seriously want to try. And but when we kind of put a label on their efforts, even they tried very hard and they couldn't do it, we should actually encourage them rather than tell them that, you know, to shame them that, you know, this didn't happen, and so on and so forth. But we have to be very mindful of all these as well. Yeah, so some of the other tips will include things like, I'm speaking away from this book, right? Would be to actually allow the child to actually look at what the parent is doing in the toilet. That actually helps. I think in many sense it does. And for kids this age, is to actually see either dad or mom in the toilet, that they can associate peeing and pooping to be in the toilet. After that, wash the hands and stuff like that. So it's something, again, like what we talked about last week about sleep routines. It's actually having a routine, sharing a routine to, like, if you go to toilet, that's what you do, and so on and so forth. Interestingly, also in the book, I think they also mentioned things like the success part, right? The reward. Just now she was sharing with me, Michelle was sharing with me how the childcare center would say that there's some reward system. Maybe you can share more.
Okay. I think different, just like how children are all different from one another, I think how parents approach potty training is very different as well. So again, there's no right or wrong here, and especially if you have to work along a childcare center, specifically childcare center, because that's where for a working parent, it's where a child spends the most time. So usually they'll tell you, okay, sometimes they will definitely inform you, like, okay, we're commencing potty training, we're going to attempt step 1, 2, 3 inside the childcare center, like we're going to like tell them their peers are going to toilet, a bit of peer pressure that works sometimes actually with kids at their age. Also, sometimes we are just extra set, so like you can do like training pants, like training pants side. So I mean, even if they do that, no, it's not a whole mess in the school. And on the other hand, I think I do like that they do communicate with us, like how does your child react at home. But I still think them spending most of the time at school, we should also ask back to the teacher, like, what do we exactly do to engage the child in potty training. So yeah, it's and also they encouraged me to get a reward system at home. It's like a sticker sheet in whatever theme the child likes, and then whenever they did a good deed with the toilet or whatever, and you give them a sticker for certain of the tasks that they accomplished. I know it works for quite a lot of parents. Not a big supporter or a fan of the reward system. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just the way I approach it. I like to use words of affirmation, like if she did it well, and I'm like, okay, you know, well done, good job, keep it up. We can do it again. But if you just, you know, let go on the floor, then you have to clean up. Because I always emphasize, if mommy messes up, I clean up. So if you mess up, you have to clean up too. So it kind of gets in a routine, like Colin was mentioning.
Yeah, and I think it's very important for us to understand what's the difference between the punishment, shaming, versus consequential. Yeah, because a lot of times when I was a new parent, I struggle a lot with that. Am I punishing my child? Because I once taught my child, I had trouble training my first child in potty training, and that's because I'm a first-time parent. Nobody tells me anything about this. It was a lot of shaming from people around, and she wasn't potty trained earlier. She was actually potty trained later. In fact, of all my 3 kids, she's the latest. I'll share with you more story later on, and why I think 18 months to 24 months is not exactly the time that you must potty train your child, right? So what happens is that I read up a lot, and I didn't do a lot of reading. It was just natural for me to assume that 18 months to 24 months was actually, I was sick of changing diapers, and I had a younger one, okay. So my thought is that, okay, you can take off, can just go to the potty and sit, right? Sit a few times, you get it. No, sorry, there's a lot more in their brains than that. And because I put her on diapers, not diapers, but I actually transitioned out to panties. So there was a lot of accidents and I get very frustrated doing so many things. So that was when I actually read the book Early Start to Potty Training as well. That's got some very interesting tips. And we started to take a step back, and because there was a new one in the family, I decided to stop it entirely. Don't stress myself, don't stress the kid, because it's not going to work out. I took a step back, and then after that, when I was ready to try again, that's when I learned about consequences versus punishment. Actually, getting the child to clean up isn't a bad idea. It's actually a life skill. Whenever you do something wrong, we just patch it up. Okay, I'm not going to say it's wrong because it's something the child is not ready for. Then when they do enough times, like they wet the floor, okay, please don't leave them to clean by themselves, alright? Or even the panties, they got to wash it, yeah? So what happens is that I'll get the child to help out since this happened, next step, what do we do? Clean up. And I'm not the one who did it. So you're the one who did it. Doesn't matter. We clean it together. So let's clean up together. A couple of times the child started getting it, and she also started feeling the urge. So that's also one other factor that's very important, because some kids actually do not feel that. I read up later, that's after she's potty trained, that, oh no, what have I been doing? I've been scolding her for the wrong things. It's actually because the child is not able to feel it. They need time. And if you give them some time and with some, like what Michelle said, words of affirmation, then that might help as well. So just on the part that we are talking about having a reward system, why it doesn't work with everyone is because different parents have different way of doing things or ways of parenting our child. And for us personally, we don't believe in over rewarding a child. So we do not we don't give too many rewards per se, whatever they are doing, because it's something that's natural and expected. So what we do is to treat it as per normal. We don't make a big fuss out of it. That helps to pull my own feelings back, You don't get very angry when they did something wrong. So if we treat it like consequential, then it makes it easier for me to manage as personally. Different people are different, so use whatever styles you think is appropriate for you, including the reward system. So again, just now I was telling Michelle that every child is different. My oldest kid was maybe more ready to train at 2+ years old, so it was over 24 months, maybe about 26, more like it, maybe 24 to 26 months, like that. My younger child, my number 2, was started potty training around the same time as the older one was doing. I think the oldest one was maybe about closer to 3 years. The number 2 watched the older one, so was able to train faster. I put her on cloth diapers as well, so that helped. She at about 18 months, before 20 months, I think about 18 months or 20 months, she was also fully out of diapers, so that was quick. That time we were going with childcare centers as well. They were going to a childcare center. It's very, very important if you have somebody who's looking after your child apart from you, for you to work together with the caregivers, because I think it's very, very important to be consistent. You don't want one person to say it's completely okay to put and pee in the diaper, and another person insisting that no, it's not correct. So you do have to work with them. And I also have the youngest child who miraculously, nobody believes me, but it's true, it's a true story. From day one that she comes out from me, on day one, she doesn't do it in her diapers, not much, unless she has so-called accidents. We kind of practice elimination communication. Wasn't something that I was expecting. I knew I wanted to do easy with her much earlier, but I wasn't expecting her to, at newborn stage, be able to make noise and communicate that she needs to defecate or pee, and she actually makes it very known, as in she kicks and she squirms and she doesn't do any business until you put her to the potty. she's quite small, about 3 kilo plus, about close to 4 kilos then, but it was quite difficult to manage the newborn being very soft. But yeah, she was ready to do so from day one. We don't really use a lot of cloth nappies either. So by the time she was about 8 months, she refused to wear any cloth nappies. About 9 months, we put her on panties. So we are 43 at that time. Yes. Yes, elimination communication is really interesting. Yeah, if you've got any questions, shoot us. I think we had some things that we said we wanted to share. Your So how do you manage a child at this age, 18 months to 2 years old? If let's say you're potty training, do you put them on training pants like disposables? These days, you know, the pull-ups. Yeah. So those are easy. You don't have to. But some people also believe in not letting them feel so dry, because then I don't know what's your experience.
I know I was, unlike my dear Pauline here, I was super lucky with my number one. She just overnight, she decided she wanted to be dry, and like her diapers were so dry, so I just started putting her under the toilet, the actual adult toilet, in the mornings, the moment she woke up, and she just peed. And then from that day, she just, day and night. Usually they say night is a lot harder for some reason, because
no, actually it depends. No? All my 3 kids not no problem, but yes, I do hear a lot. But
that is what I hear in general. That's the consensus. But I was just super lucky. She just decided she wanted to be potty trained. It was slightly before 2 years old.
Okay, that's does she wet her diapers in the night before that? So she also actually, anyway, she was actually just a tip to share with you. If you are potty training your child, one simple tip that may actually help you expedite your potty training. Listen carefully, all right? Is actually most kids do not pee in their sleep. Yes. When they stir, there is a likelihood they may pee because they feel the urge. That's why they stir. So they are aware. So actually, in the kids' subconscious mind, most kids are aware that they need to pee. If not, you just do a simple experiment. Watch your child when they take naps. Even for young kids, people ask me, how did I train my youngest? No, I didn't train her. She learned in a way. We learned together because she was communicating with me. But I don't realize that if I put her to bed after she's had a pee, she goes sleep, nothing comes out. But the moment she wakes up, within 5 minutes, that's the first pee. So if you are potty training your child, I would suggest that you get them to, you get a dry, make sure that they sleep dry. And then once they wake up, within 5 minutes, bring the child to pee. I think it helps because they will usually within 5 to 10 minutes they pee out. That helps them to learn as well, the urge and stuff like that. Yeah.
Actually, that's what I did. I didn't actually realize what I was doing, but that's what I did, like the 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's our awareness. Yeah. Actually, I didn't know until the third child, because it's just like you thought it's coincidence, but there is a trick to it, and that's one of the tricks, all right, that definitely will expedite your training.
But on the other hand, my number 2 is very headstrong, to say it nicely. So I'm going to use this in the future. It's training pants instead of the usual pull-ups, because my poor wallet also, by the way, just saying.
Because even if it's 1 pee, you can't keep it for so long.
So I'm going to apply the techniques you were discussing just now. Because she's 3 now, and I think it's really time for me to invest some time into the potty training, not just for my wallet, but for her. Like, I think she's ready.
Yeah, different kids are different, but some are like what she says, it's strong. These are good things to have, whether it's rodeo or something else, it doesn't matter. But if you are just starting for the first time, it will help for it to be outside to actually not leak, because if it's just pure panties and you're going out, it may be a little bit embarrassing or too much trouble for you as well. But if you're at home, personally, I feel that it is important for the child to see themselves peeing. So some people actually prefer not having anything on their bottoms. That works as well. Cheap. Shouldn't wear anything. But you can wear panties or what's the guys version? Sorry, we all have girls sort of like panties,
I think. Boxers.
Briefs, yes, briefs, boys briefs, alright. So they have those that have a little bit of padding in the center as well to prevent the little seeds of accidents. That works as well. And because all these, why not training pants? If you're at home, I really recommend that you use something that's not disposable training pants because it doesn't feel, it feels wet, it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes to be wet all the time around the butt, right? So they do tend to learn a bit faster. And with these comes this, something like this. Make sure that if they put into the diaper, you want to make sure, or pee, you might want to make sure that your cotton briefs or panties get cleaned up. Is to use something good that ensures that it's not staying there and causes things like diaper rashes and all that. Something very effective to use from Rocking Green, dirty diaper. We sell that at our store too. Alright, baby slings and carriers as well as baby gates and safety. Very little of it gets it off quickly, biodegradable, so it doesn't add more problems to your potty training problem.
Yeah, I mean, especially the private area has very sensitive skin. So it's so the Rocking Green, the dirty diaper is super effective because inside there are special ingredients inside which will actually
plant enzymes.
Yes, kill off
plant-based
the mineral, the residue or the bacteria that's inside the urine and
it's the stains as well and the smell. Actually, it's also made with cloth diaper safe enzymes and they are 100% plant-based from the US. Not
very good.
Yeah, made in the US as well.
We're soon moving on to our not yet. So our safety segment.
There are tips and tricks to a good start to potty training. I mean, for myself, I've used a lot of potties. I bought hundreds, not hundreds, but I'm really very fond of. I have at least 6 to 8 potties with my number one, and it really didn't work because I bought the one with the toy ball, and then after that the kid was playing with the ball all the time, and then it didn't work. I thought it's because of the ball, and she was playing too much with the ball, and so on and so forth. That's the reason why, and I decided to invest in something else, which I think there are those that has sounds, magic sounds as well. And some people swear it works. That's again the reward system thing. Yeah, some people like it a lot. And just in case we haven't brought it up, I think we forgot something. We've been talking with the context of girls. Actually, boys, for those with boys, you may like to know that just go search it out on Google. There's some kind of urinal that works as well. And one of my colleagues says it's okay lah, just shoot onto the in the toilet, just everywhere. No? But well, I mean, it depends on your child really. Some of my friends use letting the child shoot direct into the normal toilet, yeah, with a seat for raising them up as well, and that works for the boys. For the girls, nothing beats letting them look at how daddy mommy goes to the toilet. I think it's very natural. It's a natural progression for them. And later on, we will get Donnie to share with you about how you can, what are the different options, and then how you can be potty safe and so on in our safety segment. If you give us a second, we shall chat with you for a while. Wow, I'm alone.
So yeah, basically, are there any questions out there? Any questions at all that you think we have not addressed yet? Please shoot it down below in the comments, and then we will, our admin will highlight it to us, and we can talk a little more about it. What Pauline was referring early on, some of us that have sons, boys, we actually, we actually didn't know. There was, my friend shared with me because she has a son, and I went to her toilet. That was way before circuit breaker anyway. So I went to her toilet. I said, "What is this thing? Oh, that green thing on the wall is like a frog, and then there's like a little target board somewhere at the bottom at their height, obviously." And then so her little boy has to shoot at a target, or like, and there's like a spinning wheel, so it's like a mini game. Like the better you shoot, the more the wheel spins.
That's interesting. These days, so many gadgets just to potty train a child. It's so difficult to see which one works for you, right? But actually, from my years of potty training, or actually, what works best is something that you can you find sustainable in a longer period of time. And I always think that last time we used to just put the potty outside so that it's faster, right? Just undress the child, put on the potty seat. It doesn't work. I find that the best is to actually use the actual toilet itself. Yeah. So if you have a potty that you bought already, you put it in the toilet. I think it helps them associate as well, and they always want to be like daddy money. The hero. Not me, not the nothing to do with us. Yeah. Okay. Very soon we will have Donnie with us. He will share with you potty safety. But in the meantime, I'll just give you one last tip, which is somebody mentioned that they like to tear toilet paper. All right. So at this age, 18 months to 24 months, just tell them it's a no-no to play with that. But you teach them how to tear because they actually find it quite fun. So since they are going to get out of it, it's an incentive for them. If they pee properly, they can use the toilet paper, all right? Yeah, just 2 pieces, and that's an incentive, all right? So if without further ado, we will invite Donnie to come with us on Parents Huddle to share with you about potty safe training.
Hi,
in
Donnie.
the toilet. Hello, Donnie. Over to you.
Our potty safety expert.
Am I on? Okay. So today we are just going to share with you also. I think the ladies are talking about potty training, and there are a few things here at the shop that I think we can help. One very interesting product that we have with us all along is what we call the potty training toilet seat. Essentially, it is a toilet seat with a child potty seat into the regular toilet seat. That makes it very easy. Besides easier than, for example, if you were to use a regular potty seat like this, what happens is that yes, you can put it down, and once the child is done with the business, you take this, you go to the toilet, and you try to wash this. And after that, you put it back. There are, of course, the hassle of cleaning and all, and the child can do directly in the toilet seat. It will make it a lot easier. But I think the biggest value of what this toilet seat can do is that it allows the child to do exactly what you do. So we all know that for a child to learn, they actually learn best by example. So they look at you and say, "This is want to be just like you." A lot of times it makes it easier for them, particularly, if they can just sit down and they can help themselves, they can sit there safely, you don't have to worry and all that. This is something which makes it very easy for the adults to do as well as manage. And it is very, very easy to install. It will fit most regular size toilet seat. Of course, we cannot claim that it can fit all toilet seats. But it comes with 2 pins like this, as you can see. The 2 pins itself has an adjustment that allows you to control the distance between the 2 pins. So the difference is from 14 cm all the way down to 19 cm maximum. So one way you can know whether this toilet seat will fit you. Of course, I cannot guarantee that you fit exactly the same shape. But as long as it's around there, usually it works very well. So what's most important is that the pin has to be able to go to the holes. Okay. So for this, just measure the 2 holes, 14 to 19 cm. Most toilet seats should be, but if yours happens to be out of the range, unfortunately, that is probably a no-go. Otherwise, it's very easy. All you have to do is take out the nuts, take out your original toilet seat, put it back in, tighten the nuts, and the seat done. So you have a potty seat integrated with the toilet seat. On our website, we actually have the measurements of the toilet seat as well as the pins and all. So you can have a look and do a quick check to see whether it works for you. And for those with different ages of kids at home, The older ones using the toilet seat, the younger ones just want to play with water. Something like this. It may actually help for you to have something like this. This is actually what they call the toilet lock. You can easily stick it on. There's no drilling, nothing. Just stick it on. To the toilet seat. It actually allows you to lock the toilet seat when you need to. So that you do not have somebody discovering what's inside the toilet bowl by themselves. So this could come in handy for some people who have the more explorer interested in the toilet. And since you are doing a lot of potty training, and sometimes you'll be trial and error, and many times you will encounter with a lot more errors first before you have success. What can be very useful is this. This is a bottle disinfectant. It is not just useful for killing germs, it is also particularly good for removing odor. So if you have accidents that happen here and there on the bedsheet, or and everywhere, and you need something to be able to remove the bacteria, remove the smell, remove the odor, this is something very handy. So very, very safe, all free, yet they're proven to be able to kill 99.99% of bacteria, viruses, including HIV. So something like this, you want to keep it handy. You can use it for your regular disinfecting. You can also help with your cleaning and deodorizing. Okay, something like this comes in a few pack to make it easier for you. You can also buy all this on our website. Okay, maybe I'll hand it over back to the ladies.
Thank you, Donnie. That was a great explanation about the toilet seat and also our disinfectant. I hope this was very useful for the people out there. See you next week. Okay, guys, so I think that was a very interesting explanation. Like also Perlin mentioned earlier on, like you could put it, if you do opt for a potty because different parents, different approach, right? You put it next to your own toilet inside the bathroom. But personally, I also prefer this toilet seat, not just because we have it, but it feels more real for the child to actually sit on, like, you know, all they have to do is just flip down their mini toilet seat and then they're kind of still sitting on mommy or daddy's actual toilet seat.
Actually, products aside, I just speak from my experience. I think it's wonderful because it's a lot cheaper for me. I just now I mentioned that okay, I'm crazy mom. I buy everything. Every time I feel very bad when I go and tell people that I actually made all these mistakes. The reason why we want to show like this is because I hope it helps you prevent costly mistakes like what I did. I spent a lot on this, a lot of that, and a lot of times it's not necessary. Well, you can say that it's fun, right? Retail therapy, but honestly, it's a lot of money out of my pocket. I could have used it for my holidays, for example. But yeah, we don't talk about potty training all the time. It'll be so boring, right? Next week we are taking a break. I think are we taking a break from Parents Huddle? Because every fifth Friday, every fifth Monday of the month, we take a break from Parents Huddle. So we run Parents Huddle 4 Mondays in a month. So every Monday you will see us. Okay, if you don't like us, tell us, okay? Just close our face or get somebody else, all right? We got other people. But yeah, every Monday we see you at 1 during lunch hours and Parents Huddle special. All right, except for the fifth Monday of the month. If please don't come, you might be waiting and nobody turns up.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, we will announce beforehand, but just to let you know, next week we will not be on our live, so we'll be doing other stuff. But we do look forward to see you on the following Monday after that. So if that is all,
yep, and we'll end off the session today. This is Pauline, and that's Michelle.
And that's it for Parents Huddle. See you
and stay safe, all right? All right, see you next time. Bye.